Oh my gosh, you guys, we are here. Podcast, Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. This is our first episode together, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. If you are new here and you stumbled upon this podcast and you don't know who I am, I apologize. Hi, hello, I'm Brenna Berg. I'm a TikTok star. Okay, let's just call it what it is. I am a big sister on TikTok. I give dating advice. I give breakup advice. I make the girls laugh. I make you feel good. Sometimes I'm not that nice, but I give it to you straight, okay? Am I qualified to be speaking on all of these things? Depends on how you define qualified. I think I am, okay? I'm a 26-year-old. I live in Dallas, Texas. I have a wonderful boyfriend named Carter and a little 7-year-old French bulldog named May who is currently crying outside of the door because her little snorts would just be too much. I've tried it before and she couldn't stop breathing, which thank God, but you get it. She's really loud. I thought I would just give a quick little intro. You guys are going to learn all about me on this podcast. I don't know what else you want me to say. Okay. And today's episode is very important. I just realized if this comes out on Monday when I think I'm going to do this, Valentine's Day is on Wednesday. And here's the thing, love or hate it, I don't care. I've been a hater. I've been a lover. It's what you make it. Okay. In this episode, number one, I think is really good to just start off the podcast with. I'm going to be talking about confidence and positivity and self-worth and self-love, okay? Because these are questions I get often on my TikTok. I'm a very positive person. I oftentimes am telling you that you are hot, you are kind, you are funny, and you are smart. I'm talking to you, and I mean it. Okay, if you are a good person, you are all of those things. Truly, you are hot, you are kind, you are funny, and you're smart. I just know that if you're here and if you stumble across my TikTok, that you are those things. I only have the hottest, kindest, funniest girls that listen and are my friend, So if you're here, I just know that. But a lot of times I get asked, how did you become so confident? How are you so positive? All of these things that are really hard to answer in just a short amount of time. And why I think this is so important to start out with is because your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever have in your lifetime. Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for all relationships in your life, okay? And I can give you all of the dating, breakup, relationship advice in the world, but if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, it's always going to suffer or there's going to be a lack, because confidence and self-love and positivity all have to do with your self-worth and your self-acceptance and self-love, and they're all intertwined. When I think about people asking me about positivity and about confidence, I think I'm confident because I'm a positive person, but then I also think I'm a positive person because I'm confident. They all just kind of intertwine, and confidence and having a positive mindset and being happy, that's also really at the base of everything that I'm going to talk about, is not something that just happens right now. It's not you start doing this one thing and you are a confident, secure, happy, positive person. It takes time. And I went through my past to dig up what I think has gotten me here to the person I am right now. And those are the things that I'm going to break down in this episode. And I love this topic so much because also if you are in a relationship, if you're dating, if you're in a situationship, if you're single as fuck, if you are married, I think you can always come back to this and you can always better your relationship with yourself, right? You can always work on your confidence, on your happiness, on your positivity, all of it, on your self-love, self-acceptance, because there are so many things that happen in our lifetime that bring us down, right? You get a job that you hate, okay, but you're stuck because you need to be able to financially support yourself. That could have you feeling really down. You get into a relationship with a man who sucks, okay? They can plummet your self-worth like nothing. So the one thing you have to always come back to is your relationship with yourself. And the stronger you can make that, the better your life is going to be. Truly. I'm going to go on so many goddamn tangents in this because it's so hard to articulate myself in some things, and it's such a gray area. Like I said, there's not one thing you can do, and some of these tips might work and some of them might not. All of our lives are very different, but I think the more confident you are, and I think independence has a play in this as well, and positive you are about yourself, that then reflects outward. Like I said, your relationship with yourself sets the tone for all of your relationships. Similar to, let's just say you had a bad day, okay? You went to work, your coworker sucks, they put you down, you get home to a roommate, to a partner, to your family, and they do something that triggers you, and you snap at them, okay? Because you're having a bad day. It's not necessarily the thing, but you take it out on them because you're having a bad day, okay? This is my example. When you feel shitty about yourself, it then is going to trickle into all relationships and all aspects of your life, into your job, into who you hang out with, but into your relationships with other people. And that's why it's so important. And it's just such a passion of mine. Okay, I'm going to get carried away. Let's just jump into, I'm going to talk about how I became a confident, happy, wonderful person because there was a moment in my life when I was insecure, unhappy, probably not that positive. And you know when that time was? High school. When I think about my most insecure, unhappy, negative self, I think of myself in high school. And was I a kid? Yes. But as an adult, you just reflect. And my life since I left high school, every year has gotten better and better and better. And have there been lows? Yeah. Have there been not great moments? Of course. But overall, I feel like I learn more about myself each year and they just get better. I get happier. I get a better understanding of who I am. And that just is priceless information because once you understand yourself, confidence is really just self-acceptance. Okay, that is maybe my opinion, but I think it's a fact. Okay? It's not about being the hottest, the funniest, the smartest, the kindest, even though you are. There is always going to be somebody hotter, somebody smarter, somebody kinder, somebody funnier. Maybe not for me, but for you. There's always going to be somebody better than you in an aspect, and you can view that and then make it an insecurity of yours, or you can understand and appreciate that. But confidence doesn't come from being the smartest, the funniest, the hottest, the whatever kindest person in the room. It comes from just knowing who you are and being okay with that, knowing the bad parts of yourself and saying, yep, that's true, but like that's who I am. Okay. Am I saying to never work on yourself? No, I think you should be constantly working on yourself, improving yourself, gaining more knowledge, but it's just knowing who you are to your core. It's like that example when somebody says, like, if somebody came up to me and told me, oh my gosh, your purple hair is disgusting, I'd be like, what? Like, it wouldn't even affect me because I don't have purple hair and I know that. Similar to the real traits about us. Like, for example, I used to have fricked up teeth, right? I did Smile Direct Club, I fixed them up. But before then, if anybody was ever talking about teeth, nobody ever came at me and said like, oh my gosh, teeth. But you know, people are like teeth people. And so you feel that you're like, oh, I know my teeth aren't perfect, but I know that about myself. And there was like nothing I could have done about it. And that's okay. Like, am I a worse person because I don't have perfect teeth? No. And that's a physical thing, but there are also, you know, internal, emotional things about ourselves. Like maybe we're a little bit sensitive to things. Okay, I'm not that bitch, but maybe you are. Like when somebody makes a joke like, oh my gosh, you're so sensitive. Sensitive people typically get hurt by that. But if you know that, like that's okay. That's who you are. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I'm kind of rambling already, but let's get into the bullet point. I have my notes app here. The things when I look back on my life of what I did differently and how I changed to become more confident and more positive and more happy really in my life, because I want that for you guys. There's nothing worse than feeling insecure, feeling so bad about yourself, talking shit to yourself. Like, that place, like I think about high school Brenna and I'm like, that poor girl, she thought she sucked. And that was me. Like that was literally me. It was just a different version, but I thought so poorly of her. I'm no different. I'm the same bitch. Okay. But I just have a better mindset. And that's what we're gonna get into. Okay. Let's fucking go. I don't think I even cleared up what today's episode is going to be about. Originally, I thought it was confidence, but it's more just about bettering ourselves. So I'm giving tips on just how to become happier, healthier, how to be more positive, gain more confidence, how to just better your relationship with yourself. And the first point that I want to talk about, you're not going to like, but it is hands down the most important thing and the most overlooked thing that you can do to better your relationship with yourself: working out, eating healthy, and drinking water. And if you're like, oh my God, Skip, look at me right now. If you are in a place that you are insecure, you're not happy, you're struggling, but you're not working out, you're not eating right, and you're not drinking water, don't talk to me. I'm being so serious. It has nothing to do with your body weight. It has nothing to do with body goals. It has nothing to do with other than the fact it makes you feel good. Truly. This world, our country in specific, wants us to feel like shit and be on medications and that whole nine, which I told you I don't want to go there. It is the easiest thing that you can do to feel better about yourself, and that's just that. I'm not going to dive in deep because you already know this. You just have to put it into practice if you haven't already. When I think about my worst version of myself, it is Brenna in high school. It is Bismarck High School. Oh my gosh, I hated that shit. In the moment, I don't think I really realized, because when that's all you know, going to school and being around the same people for 100 years, you don't know any different. But now that I'm an adult and once I went to college, oh my gosh, you could literally right now offer me $10 million to go back to Bismarck High for 3 years. My high school, thank God, was only, middle school was the same people. My high school was only 10th, 11th, and 12th. I would literally rather do anything else. I would not take the $10 million. I could not do that again. The reason I think this is because the people that you surround yourself with and your environment is everything. And a lot of us are in a place where we're stuck, right? In high school, if you're in high school, you're stuck. You have to go to school, okay? And it's important. Your education is important, but just know that you're almost out, okay? Just know that. I think the reason why I hated it so much is because I was around so many people that didn't make me feel good about myself, and I was just stuck there. Your environment is truly everything. Or for example, if you've ever had a shitty roommate, which I have, when you go home and you hate the people you're living with, it just affects your whole mood. And I think this is so important because your environment needs to be a place where you can thrive and where you can grow. And if you're not in that place, this is why people say moving out of their hometown was the best thing that ever happened to them. Hands down, the best thing you can do for yourself, because it pushes you into a place. Number one, you're probably by yourself, so then you can spend time alone and figure out who you are and what you like. But you're no longer around these people that either make you feel bad or also then trigger all of these old memories. Like, you know, when you go back to your hometown, if you moved away, you feel so just like icky. And I think it's just a reminder of all of those bad times that you had, because your environment plays a big part in your life. I mean, your environment is everything. And this leads me into a story. When I was in high school, I knew that leaving was going to be the best thing that ever happened to me. I just knew it because I felt so out of sorts. And I went to North Dakota State University, okay? And this is like 2.5 hours away from my hometown. So far enough to be away, but a lot of people from my city went to this school. And I get there, I drive myself down to college. My first week, I drove by myself. My parents didn't come and move me in. Very on brand. And all of the sudden, I find myself in a group chat. A goddamn group chat. My second personal hell, okay? And who's in this group chat? All of the freshman girls from my city, my high school and our rival high school, that just moved in as well. These girls did not want to branch out from high school them, which is, again, not my kind of people. They wanted to go to the dining hall at the same time. They wanted to know what parties were going on. They wanted to say, hey, I'm going to the library. Who wants to come with? Because they couldn't do a goddamn thing by themselves. Okay, I find myself in this group chat. 2 days later, I removed myself. I've had enough. It had literally been 2 days. I'm like, I came to college to separate myself from you guys, and nothing is wrong with these girls. They're nice girls. But again, like I just felt so not myself around these people, and I already knew that. So 2 days later, I removed myself, and everywhere I went, I was on the lookout for these girls so they wouldn't find me, because every time I would go into the dining hall, they're sitting there like, Brenna, come sit. And I'm like, actually, this is like the last thing that I wanted. You cannot be around people that you compare yourself to, that make you feel bad, that you just don't like. Okay. Why would you choose to be around people that just make you feel anything but good? That is tip number one. Okay. Remove toxic ass people from your life. And this doesn't mean people that are nice. Like it can be anybody. If they don't make you feel good about yourself, it doesn't matter. Goodbye. And while I'm talking about it, that will lead me to social media. Same shit. Okay. Quit following people that you don't like, that you compare yourself to, that don't make you feel good. Okay. Our social media, and I think we're finally getting to a place where we understand the detriment to mental health that it has. Okay. When I was younger, it was still rather new. So there wasn't as much research on what it can really do to a person. You choose who you follow. You choose the content you consume. TikTok's a different story, but even still with your algorithm, you can kind of make it this positive place. On Instagram, remove anybody who you just don't like. Okay, when you see their stuff, it makes you feel any other way than happy. Okay, and if you find yourself worrying, what if they notice? It doesn't matter. Okay, your peace, your self-worth matters more than anything. You have to protect yourself. Who gives a shit? It's social media. Nobody cares. Now, after I went to college, I had gotten rid of my Twitter. I unfollowed anybody on my Instagram that I wasn't seeing from high school anymore. I didn't have the balls yet enough to unfollow those girls and the people that I was seeing, but eventually I got there and realized who gives a fuck. But then the next thing that I did was spend so much alone time with myself. If you are never alone, if you never spend time by yourself with no distractions, how do you know yourself? You literally don't. I think about growing up, going to school, being at home with my family. You were around people 24/7. Okay. Except for when you go and hide in your room, but then you're like watching YouTube or doing things that you wanted to do because you haven't had a chance to do them. When I went to college, of course, I was studying, I was working a fuck ton, but I got to spend so much time with myself, and I found that I like working out. I like just being by my goddamn self. I like reading. I like doing these things. And with that, I found the things that I don't like. I don't like going out. I don't like being in loud places. I don't like being up past 9 p.m. But if you never give yourself a moment to like figure yourself out, how would you ever know? And if you don't know yourself in every little detail about you, how are you going to have a good relationship with yourself? Because you're here, you're there, you are at the mercy of everybody else. You go out because your friends want you to go out, and you drink because you think that's what you're supposed to do. But if that's not who you are and what you like, you are never going to cultivate a good relationship with yourself. Does that make sense? And this is also when I started to pick up personal development books. And when it comes to a positive mindset, I thought about this a lot for this episode and how I became positive. And I think one part of it was in North Dakota, it is the #1 drinking state per capita. Like there's not a lot of people, there's not even 1 million people in North Dakota, but oh my gosh, did I ever even tell you? I'm from North Dakota if you didn't already know that. I grew up, born and raised. Anyways, my absolute favorite book that came out years later, not when I was in college, but it's called Happy Sexy Millionaire by Stephen Bartlett. Incredible book. This is where I learned all the things that I'm telling you right now. If you don't like to read podcasts, I've watched every Jay Shetty one, Lewis Howes, all of those personal development, Tony Robbins. Like it's cheesy, but if you really want to better yourself, you need to gain more knowledge in these areas. And there is nothing that changed my life more than those books and the podcasts and the videos that I watched on how to change your mindset, because I knew that I didn't like being around people who complained, who wants to be around a person who's negative all the time? And I'm not saying a bitch here and there. Everybody likes to vent. I'm guilty. You're guilty. That's fine. But you know, the people that complain about everything just as a conversation, like that was very common in North Dakota. And I'm like, oh, like those people just make you feel like, oh my gosh. And I just never wanted to be that person, you know? So I learned, like, how do you get a positive mindset? How do you not complain? And these are things, again, I can't really teach you, but I think this is where you need to reach out to. Podcasts are a great thing today, but books if you're into books, okay? Just gain more knowledge on the things that you are insecure about or you struggle with. So maybe you have a positive mindset, but maybe you have like social anxiety. I can't really speak on anxiety of any sort because I don't have those issues, but there are books in relationships. If you're insecure in certain things, the book Attached, I haven't read it, but like hone in on the areas that make you not feel good, that make you insecure, and figure out how you can change your mindset, because your mindset is everything. Your mindset is your reality. Your thoughts are your world, truly. And as hard as it is, it's as easy as just changing your mindset, and then you're just not that person anymore. I used to be an unhappy, negative person, and now I'm not because I just chose not to be. Okay, does that make sense? I apologize if this is all over the goddamn place. And if you do struggle with a negative mindset, I know that you are talking negatively to yourself, and you have to cut that shit out. Okay, you have to quit speaking negatively to yourself because, like I said, your thoughts are your reality. So if you keep just bashing yourself in your own head, you have to stop. And the first thing is just becoming aware of it. If you understand that you do it, amazing. That's like the hardest part. Then you can start to rewire like, no, I'm not dumb. Like when you make a mistake, you're not dumb. You made a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. Okay. Or a day we all feel ugly. Like we're all low key ugly, but like there are days where I'm like way uglier than normal. I'm not ugly, you know? I know that the proof is in the pudding, but like we just have bad days. So the second you can stop saying like, quit defining yourself in terms and just say like, nope, I'm just like not having the best hair day. Okay. Even still, I would challenge you not to say those things because who cares? But the negative self-talk has to stop, and the victim mindset. Okay. If you have a victim mindset, do not come near me. That shit is so toxic. Okay. I'm sorry, but every one of us has been through some shit. Okay. You can sit there and you can complain and you can say, poor me, whatever. It's not going to change a damn thing. Okay. And guess what? The next person has gone through it as well. Like, no offense, but you're not that special, and you can be the person who complains about everything and just wallows around. But like, one, nobody's going to want to be around you. And two, it's not changing anything. My favorite quote ever is, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. Okay, truly, life happens to you, things happen. You can't control that, but what you can control is how you react to said things. Okay, and if you want to see the negative in everything, you can. This is like, it kills me on TikTok. You will see the most wholesome video. Okay, let's say that a bird died in somebody's backyard. Okay, and the person, the TikToker, they take this bird in and they heal it, and then all of a sudden it flies off into the freaking air, whatever. There will be so many people in the comments just, why didn't you let the mom come and save it? Or like bitching about something. Can we just not appreciate a good thing for a good thing? Like, if you want to see the negative in everything, you can, of course. And if you want to see the positive in everything, you can. Like, it is really just that easy. And I think with having the victim mindset, it's the same thing. You see everything in this lens of negative and, oh, well, of course this happened to me. And you have to stop. You just have to stop. Quit holding grudges, quit being pissed about this, that, and the other. And again, getting mad, like, for example, and I know it's just a reaction, but truly, I don't get upset at things. Like inconvenient things happen to me. Okay, getting pissed, what is that gonna do? Yelling at somebody, just being all worked up, it's not changing the situation. It still happened. So you just have to, of course, maybe it wasn't the best thing that happened. You're like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I got in a car accident. But getting mad, getting pissed, wallowing in that forever, it's not changing anything, and it's certainly not making it better. Okay? You also have to stop being an ungrateful bitch. Okay. Thankfully, I had a head start in this because I come from humble beginnings and we won't even get into it, but I have nothing but to be grateful for things. I grew up, the divorced parents, dad's got full custody, single dad making minimum wage. We had a wonderful upbringing, don't get me wrong, but we didn't get anything fine in life. Okay, let's just say that. So now when I open myself up into this world of new things and going on vacations and buying myself stuff that I want, I am so grateful because I came from a place where I didn't have these things. I just think that gratitude leads to positivity, and I believe in karma. I think that when you put out good and when you are grateful, good things happen to you. Now I'm going to touch on something that is really hard for people, but I think one of the most important, and that is not caring what people think about you. Okay. I promise you, number one, people aren't thinking about you. We think that people judge us. We think people think about us all the time. They don't. To be honest, nobody really gives a fuck about you. Like, nobody deeply cares other than your friends and family. But then those people care so much about your well-being. They don't care about the embarrassing thing that you did or said. Like, when you're out in public and you do something embarrassing, people are going to laugh or whatever. They never think about it again. And who cares if people think about you? Who cares if they're judging you? They aren't living your life, okay? If I cared that people thought I'd look stupid on TikTok, I wouldn't be here right now with all of you wonderful women encouraging me and us helping each other out. And I think it keeps a lot of us from being who we want because you can create your dream life. And that's what you have to do. You have the power with your thoughts, with your abilities to create whatever life you want for yourself. But so many of us are held back by what other people think, and nobody cares. Like, they're not living your life. You're living your life. So you're really going to stop yourself from doing something you want to do because somebody else is thinking that it's silly? Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Never am I ever going to let other people dictate how I'm going to live my life, okay? And this is why I think you just constantly need to be recreating yourself. You need to spend time alone, figure out what it is you like and you don't like, because we're always changing, and then constantly recreating the life that you want and just making an environment for yourself that allows you to evolve and to grow. Because I think this is why moving out of your hometown is such a big topic and why everybody and their moms recommends it. Because, for example, when I moved to Dallas on my own, that was when I could truly become the woman I am right now. Because in North Dakota, I was still surrounded by people that knew a certain version of me. Can you still change when those people are around? Of course. It's going to feel a little uncomfortable again, but you have to stop giving a fuck. But moving out of your hometown, being around people that don't know you, don't know your past, it gives you so much more power to then say, I am now this girl, okay? You want to be a Pilates bitch? Sign up for a Pilates class. You're now a Pilates bitch. In 2021, I was always a t-shirt and a shorts gal, okay? And I saw the girls in their little tennis dresses and their tennis skirts, and I was like, oh, I want to be that girl. But I was like, it's not me. It didn't feel who I was to my core. Like, as a girl growing up, I always wore my brother's hand-me-downs, okay? Finally, I hopped on Halara.com. I ordered a tennis dress. I wore it. I was that bitch. And now I wear tennis skirts all the time. You guys know my summer uniform. If you don't know, just wait until the summertime. Now it's all I wear. And like, for so long, it was like a part of my personality. I was just like, I was a t-shirt, not a t-shirt like this, but like a baggy t-shirt and just like Adidas shorts person. And I was like, oh, I love the cute girls with their little ponytails and their dresses. I became that bitch. Okay. It's kind of is with a lot of things really that easy. You just have to get over the fear of what other people think and just your own sort of thoughts in your head of who you are, okay? Because that also can hold you back. When you have a version of yourself in your head that might have been who you were, that doesn't need to be who you are tomorrow, you know? Okay, I've rambled on and on and on, and I think I want to sum this up by just slowly start creating the life that you want. Of course, we've been stuck in positions where we can't leave. Like, if you're in a job that you hate, you need to find something so financially you're stable. It's not as easy just up and leaving. Of course, everybody would do that if they could, but it's figuring out the areas like, okay, if you are in a job that you don't like, but you go out every weekend and spend hundreds of dollars on drinks and on food, maybe hold back so you can save some money. That way it puts you in a better financial position so then you can leave the job. Because, for example, I talk a lot about dating and relationships, but like work is what we do with the majority of our time, and a lot of people hate their jobs. So any way that you can do a switch or you can figure out something else to do, you need to do that, okay? We have to start taking care of ourselves and protecting our peace, and also just learning who we are and what we like. Some people like to go out, some people like to stay in, some people like to go, I love to go on walks. That's not for everybody. But if you never spend the time by yourself to figure out what you even do and don't like if you literally can't sit here and say, I don't really know what I like to do, I don't really know what I don't like, that's a big problem. Once I realized I was in control of my own life, this was when I could really blossom. And this is when I became the positive, confident version of myself. But all of that to say, like, once you really know yourself, that's when you can then build the life that you love. And I get a lot of questions about confidence in dating and like how to be more confident and not be so anxious and scared and all of these things. And again, it goes back to your relationship with yourself. And of course, there's still going to be nerves and things like that. But I truly think if you are in a place where you are scared to date, you're having a tough time, work inward, look at yourself. It's not the men, okay? Because once you get more confident in who you are, you know yourself, you'll also know what partners suit you better. When I think about past partners, bless them, they were sweet little angels. Okay, I had great relationships. Now my relationship with Carter is so different in all of the best ways, but I would have never known that he was what I needed had I not taken the time to figure out what it was that I was looking for in a partner. You know, I thought I wanted this, I thought I wanted that. And that goes along with just like dating people and learning more about yourself. But again, it's taking the time. And by the time I met Carter, I knew I don't like going out. I don't like drinking. I want to build a wonderful life, okay? And Carter wanted all those same things. But before, I would date guys who liked to go out, and I would do it just because that's what they liked doing. But to my core, I knew that would never work because that's not me. That's just like one example, So I just encourage you all to work on your relationship with yourself. And it's a constant work in progress. Okay. I'm changing now that I'm in a relationship and learning the ways that I can create routines now that I live with my partner, I just think that every single girl, no matter where you are in your life right now, can always understand yourself better. And it will just make your relationships, your romantic relationships better, but your friendships better, your relationships with your family. Okay. This is obviously a big passion of mine. And I just want all of my girls to be happy and healthy and secure and confident, because there's no reason you can't be. There is no reason that you shouldn't just love yourself for who you are. We are all so uniquely different, and that's why we're amazing. That's why you're amazing. Okay? Because you're you, and that's why people love you, because you're not like every other person. You are hot, you are kind, you are funny, you are smart. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You are a wonderful person, and I want you to feel that same way about yourself. That is step 1 of Brenna Berg's life advice. Holy fuck, was that my first episode? You guys, please give me any and all feedback. I am so sorry if this was all over the place and if I go on tangents, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. I'm so looking forward to just learning podcasting and figuring this all out with you guys. Thank you so much again for pushing me to do this and just being here. Like all of you that follow me, that comment, that message me, I'm so thankful. I truly think I have like the best community of girls. You guys are all so sweet. And I feel like we've been through a lot together. I've gotten girls while they're going through breakups. Now I have women that are married, but they just like the funny little things or the Carter stories. I just love you all. And I hope that this form of content also will build our relationship, because you're seeing more of me in a more raw form, in a longer form, a way longer form. But anyways, I could go on and on. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys next week. Okay, bye guys.